Okay, so I've been running one-shots at my local game store and been doing a few online games. At this point, I've probably run about 10, 15 sessions. It's hard to say for sure, but I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying being a DM. I'm really learning a lot. But I also wanted to make a quick journal entry to remind myself about the things that I've learned that I've done wrong. There are a couple of them that really bother me that I was doing. I'm actively trying to fix them. And I thought doing another one of these videos would help me kind of sink that in concrete in my head. Number one is let the players do the thing. When someone comes to the table and they've got this character, there are all these secondary skills that the character sheet has, especially in Dungeons and Dragons. What all these secondary skills let you do are have little specialty moments to shine in the spotlight. If somebody comes up, especially if they come up with a great idea, help them achieve that. And the reason why this is so important is all those secondary characteristics don't come up in the game that often. So for somebody to sit there and say, oh, I have sign language, this finger-based demon who's floating in the air and gesticulating at us, I wonder if it's telling us something. That's brilliant. There are very few things as heartbreaking to me as when a player realizes their character has the perfect ability for something, but for some reason I don't let them do it. Either because practically it doesn't make sense in the fiction, which is a failure of imagination, or I just flat out say no, which is just me being a jerk. Luckily, I haven't really done that. I've resisted my natural jerk impulses, I guess. Or the dice just don't break their way. And in that case, you can either roll with it and find a way to incorporate that into the story, or you can find a way to give them another chance. I personally prefer to find a way to incorporate into a story. So it's that whole failing forward thing, so that you can yes and or no but the situation, and all of a sudden that player's failed attempt actually turns into something much more engaging and much more interesting for that player. But yeah, man, let them do the thing. Okay, thing number two that I've found myself tending to do not let the NPCs talk too long. Especially, this is from my background as a writer. I love dialogue and I love interesting characters having great dialogue. So I really like seeing them snap together, like fine-tooth gears, right? There's just something perfect about well-done dialogue. Problem is, it's really boring in a tabletop role-playing game. Don't have NPCs talk to each other. They should be talking to the PCs, or the PCs should be forcing the conversation in a specific way. The player actions and decisions drive the story, not my beautiful, precious words and great NPC characters and dialogue and all that sort of stuff. I have my own novels and games and stories and all that stuff that I can do that in. For the game, for D&D or Tales from the Loop or whatever it is, it's not about the dialogue, it's about the player decisions. The other thing is not letting NPCs talk for too long. A speech can sound great in your head, probably does not sound great at the table. If they do have a long description that the story fiction necessitates, if they got a lot to say, just summarize it. Shrink it down, condense it, give them the Cliff Notes version. Everyone's going to be happier. Item three, and this is one that's probably just unique to me. I have found that when I sit at a table, I like to sit on the, we have kind of a rectangular table usually when I play in person, and I tend to sit on one side. Everybody else sits in a half circle around me. I much prefer that to sitting on one end because I can engage with people in slightly different ways. I can use my body language more, and people can hear me better, and I can hear them better as well, especially in a store environment. But what happens is I have a range of people in a semicircle around me, and the people closest to me kind of creep in on my sides, and I get blinders. So I tend to talk to people here who are within like a 90-degree angle of me rather than the 130 degree or whatever it is. that they're actually seated at. So I need to engage with people in my blind spots. I find if I make a point of being sure that I get the spotlight on the player immediately to my right and to my left, everything else will take care of itself. But I've had a couple games now where I was thinking back on it and I realized that I was the least engaged with these two folks. So again, those are all sources of regret, especially number 1 and number 3. Let the player do the stuff and engage with all the players at the table. Learn if you have your own unique blind spots and go from there. So still loving the DM thing. I'm still very much in the wannabe DM mode. But these are just some of the things that I have learned, and I am recording them all to be helpful down the road.